For all my life, it's been okay for me to play video games. I am allowed to be a gamer. Nobody's going to question my gamerhood, my gamerdom, or my right to play video games. Well, aside from like M-rated games when I was a kid, or like playing games past my bedtime, but like at school and social gatherings, I can always go out, talk about video games with or without people. I can be out there talking to myself about these video games. Fuck it. Right now, when I'm recording this, ain't nobody here with me. I'm alone. Shit. Fuck. Maybe I should get a girlfriend. 1 second. Okay, now I'm talking to someone now. Now I'm less lonely. Hell yeah. So, as I was saying, it's always been okay for me to play video games, and largely that has to be said because 1, games were marketed towards young men significantly more than young women when I was growing up, at least. And 2, because I'm a dude, and I've identified as one my entire life. And because I have a penis, and my personality and conceptualization of myself meshes well with having a penis, and also the male-focused marketing behind video games meant that I was able to get into them and nobody would bat an eye. I remember one time I wanted to smell some woman's perfume at like a fucking Macy's, and my uncle said, "Hey, that's gay." And I was just like interested in the smells. I wasn't going to wear the perfume. I just wanted to see how it smelled like. But my interest in knowing what perfume smelled like was met with friction. I was quickly taught perfume isn't for boys or men. So I was turned away towards it. I was met with, again, friction. But with video games, I was encouraged by that same uncle to play them. With that being the case, I have been playing video games for much longer than probably the average female gamer my age. Like, this isn't to say that gamer girls are worse at video games than me, because they probably aren't. I'm not very good. That's just to say I've been playing games easily for 20 fucking years at this point, consistently. On the other hand, a lot of women I know my age only played video games for like 10 to 15, usually less. I don't want to really get too far into why, but there are forces at play that make it okay for me to express certain interests growing up, and not okay for women to express other interests. And video games happen to be one of those interests that they probably couldn't really express. I don't know why. Who knows? Like, could be anything. Could really be anything. Now, what the fuck does Princess Peach Showtime have to do with any of this? And why am I talking about it? Well, glad you asked. We're gonna talk about it. So, let's go.
Is that Princess Peach? Yeah, now she throws punches with her feet. She isn't afraid to get her hands dirty. And she can lasso enemies to the ground. You know, princess stuff.
Take the spotlight and play like a princess. Princess Peach Showtime. Only on Nintendo Switch.
When I first saw Princess Peach Showtime being revealed, I was excited, because 1, I think Princess Peach looks cool, and 2, the last Princess Peach game was really one big joke about a sex toy. So like, this game could only be, they could only go up from here. But I think it was very clear that this game was not going to be made for someone like me, who's been gaming for 20 fucking years. Like, think a Kirby game. I love Kirby, by the way. Anyways, the average Kirby game is generally pretty easy, but will significantly ramp up in difficulty as it goes on. It has some post-game content that's considerably challenging. The games also have a pretty decent amount of player expression, so if you're 5 or 25, you can have a good time with Kirby games. Princess Peach isn't going to be like that. It's Princess Peach. No Princess Peach game is going to be made to appeal to my old ass and what I look for in games. They're not going to give Peach a fucking command grab, counter hits, perfect parry, enemy step, fuzzy guard, bunny hopping, headshots, resource management, strategy, min-maxing, character building, weapon upgrades. It doesn't make sense to give her this stuff because it's fucking Princess Peach. This is a game, again, not made for me or people like me who want all these in-depth, cool, challenging mechanics in their games. And that's okay, because this game is for the 12-year-old girl or the LG bisexual niggas from Atlanta who were socially ostracized from playing video games and probably don't know what the fuck player expression is. Like check this out. I went on a blind date and started explaining player expression to a woman my age who doesn't play video games, it's like if some wino started talking to me about the citrus notes in their favorite wine. After I somehow survived that conversation from hell, you best bet I'm never talking to that person again. I don't care about your wine. I don't drink spicy grape juice. But if I were to start getting into drinking spicy grape juice, I probably wouldn't want to try the most expensive wine ever. I wouldn't get it. It would go over my head. It's like if I wanted to get a gamer who likes video game music into jazz. I wouldn't fucking put on Autumn Leaves by Cannonball Adderley. I like it, and I appreciate it. It's a great piece of work. But they probably aren't used to listening to music in that headspace. They would probably struggle to enjoy and appreciate it. The F-Zero Jazz album is probably a better thing to introduce them to. Or maybe some jazz fusion that has more tropes your gamer ass and gamer ears are probably used to listening to. A 12-year-old girl, or really a 12-year-old anyone, wanted to get into video games and decided to pick up Dragon's Dogma 2 or DMC 5 or Resident Evil 2 Remake, they probably would think the same thing. The game would be hard, it wouldn't be approachable. They'd probably struggle to appreciate the game for its merits. They would stop playing because their ass is getting kicked out in these streets, and that's not fun. Princess Peach Showtime serves as a way to introduce someone less familiar to various game concepts and ideas. It meshes genre in a really cool and interesting way, and I think if you look at the game from the angle of it's trying to get someone, a more feminine someone, who previously met friction trying to engage in video games, into gaming, trying to engage into video games, we could see something a lot more valuable in this game. Princess Peach Showtime is not for the gamers of today, but for the gamers of tomorrow. And I want to look at the types of gameplay it's teaching the gamers of tomorrow about. So, let's get into that. Figure Skating Peach, Thief Peach, Ninja Peach, and Normal Peach, and Cowgirl Peach. Movement and platforming. These are Peaches that are all about introducing players to movement and platforming in video games, in both 2D and 3D space. Thief Peach is a lot more 2D than the others, but Figure Skating Peach and Ninja Peach have plenty of 3D segments. Figure Skating Peach is more so about maneuvering in 3D space and timing your button presses to your movement, which is great. Ninja Peach is about more tactile movement and has dashes and stealth mechanics, kind of layering more into your average platforming experience. Being the player familiar with the idea of like where you are matters and that sometimes you just gotta sit still. Remember, a lot of kids are smart, but I wasn't a smart kid and I'm certain I'm not the only not smart kid. Next up, Thief Peach. This is probably my favorite transformation gameplay-wise. It has you zipping, zooming, and whipping around a stage, and you can take it slow if you want, but it does give you a bit of room to go pretty fast and zip zoom around stages. Normal Peach is kind of just like, you know, normal fucking Peach. Cowgirl Peach is really cool because she has more combat than Ninja Peach and has some interactability with her world. Ninja Peach can, wall jump, and that's cool, but Cowgirl Peach can yoink things and throw them, and all of her levels have these like auto-scroller-like segments, which are a huge part of modern platformers. Very useful to have in a game to teach players, about auto-scrollers, Mighty Peach, Sword Peach, and Kung Fu Peach. These Peaches are more about different types of combat you might encounter in various games. Let's start with Mighty Peach. She's kind of like a big, strong lady. She can grab things that are big and move things around in different places to progress the story. She also can grab onto enemies and swing them around in a way that really reminds me of something that like Bayonetta would do. Sword Peach is a more basic approach to combat, with a decent amount of enemies and a simple combo that you swipe them away with. I think I'd compare this combat the most to like something you'd see in a Zelda game, which is something you could check out after you play Princess Peach Showtime. Next up, in terms of combat, is Kung Fu Peach. My favorite combat in the game. Kung Fu Peach has a really great sense of time and fluidity to her movement, and she plays like she's in a simple beat-em-up. And her boss fights require that you nail down the timing of a button press, kind of introducing you to some of the execution you might encounter in some fighters or beat-em-ups, which is really cool, and I'm glad this specific subgenre of like action in video games or combat in video games is represented in Princess Peach Showtime. Next up is Detective Peach and Mermaid Peach. Detective Peach is all about investigating the area around you. I dislike how the game makes you take damage when you guess a clue wrong, but I love how it encourages a player to make a deduction based on what their clue is. Each mystery has plenty of environmental hints, and in my opinion, it really assists the player on how they should be reading the screen they're looking at and making them think, oh, I should pay attention, which is something even I struggle with today. Next up is Mermaid Peach, which takes the same idea of investigating stuff to the next level by giving you more control on how you interact with the world around you. You see, with Detective Peach, you just kind of press the A up to something to interact with it. With Mermaid Peach, you move fish in the direction you want to push things, or you move items or objects around the world to make it so you can progress to the level. It really gives you more interaction with the world, which I think is really cool. Next up and last up is Patissiere Peach. I think the best way to describe this one is like a hodgepodge of a couple ideas, but mostly time management. It has you making cookies to satisfy enemies by timing how you bake them, managing a crowd of dudes by serving them cookies as they need, and then managing time by completing cakes as fast as you can, taking your time on the harder bits, but trying to go faster on the easier ones. Taking a more critical look at Princess Peach Showtime was really fun and I enjoyed it, but this is kind of a review, so what score would I give it? I don't like attaching a score to a piece of art too much, and I'm also in my mid-20s. I'm man enough to admit that I have no place reviewing Princess Peach Showtime. It didn't really satisfy my gamer urges, but it doesn't make sense for it to. It makes no sense for me to slap a review score on this game and say, hey, go buy it, or hey, don't go buy it. If you want to see Princess Peach do cool stuff, this game is a 10 out of 10 for you. Peach is in it, and she does cool stuff. If you want to get a game for anyone in your life who is new to gaming, it's a 10 out of 10. It'll introduce them to a lot of stuff, and as long as they aren't a little bitch and can handle playing as a girl in pink, they'll have a good time. But for me, someone who is super into video games and has been playing them for 20 fucking years now, God, I'm old, this game, it's not for me. And it's not meant to be for me, and it doesn't need to be for me. I will probably never play this game again. I'm going to give it to someone else who can get a lot more mileage out of it. I enjoyed my time with it, and I enjoyed discussing it. And I'm excited to see when I'm like fucking 30, a bunch of people online going, Princess Peach Showtime got me into video games. That'll be so cool. But, as I said earlier, this video game isn't for gamers like me of today. It's for the gamers of tomorrow, who will be introduced to gaming through this game, and I'm glad it exists. Thank you for watching. You should comment what kind of games got you into gaming. For me, games like Spyro, Mario, Sonic, Kirby were like the main games I played growing up. Crash Bandicoot was there as well, and the PS1 Rayman, but those two were a bit too difficult for me to play as a kid. But I remember watching like my parents or my sister playing them, and I always had fun doing that. So share your gaming stories that got you into gaming. Thanks again for watching. Stop by next time where I'll be talking about to play games, and I'll also be very angry then. It's going to be a very, very angry, different, I might take my clothes off. I'm so mad. Yeah. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe, schlament, and subscribe again. Please. Ooh. Bye-bye.
Princess Peach Showtime has got to be the biggest disappointment of my damn life. I played and paid for this game to see Princess Peach get naked. It's called Princess Peach Showtime for a reason, and I am here with a heavy heart to tell y'all here, the gamers of the world, that Princess Peach Showtime does not have coochie, titty, or even exposed buttocks. It ain't got shit. I am appalled. The game is called Princess Peach Showtime. And, you know, it's time for her to show us something. And I ain't seen shit. I've come to the conclusion that, you know, the woke mind virus has infected Nintendo, and I'm here to protest. Fuck you, Mario. I'd like you to like, comment, and subscribe, and comment on the Joe Rogan podcast so I can get my juicy ass up in there and let Joe know what Nintendo's up to with this Princess Peach Showtime game. Yeah.